Hey everybody, this is Brian here. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the school system. Ethics in the school system and ways we can improve it. A little bit about me. I'm a history major and I just graduated with my AA when I fell ill and developed epilepsy. Before that, I wanted to become a high school teacher very strongly, and I was forced to stop working towards that and to go on disability. I was going to transfer into a 4 year as a junior. I only tell you this because I want you to know that the education system is highly important to me as a person. So, as a result of that, I wanted to discuss the school system uh, and its needs to improve drastically and quickly. Here's several realistic, applicable ways that I think could help out our future, our kids. Number one, stop hurting the differently abled children in the classes that make them feel like they're still in preschool. They're talked down to like they have no brains or cognitive presence, often when that's not the issue. I think that considering a lot of these kids are really smart actually, but may have behavior issues, especially in elementary school. I think that schools could improve by getting rid of the modern incarnation of special ed and replacing it with classes and workshops that help those kids that struggle in a normal classroom environment. Often these kids don't have, I hate to use this word, but like a mental retardation. They have things like ADHD or dyslexia, behavior problems, things that don't necessitate sitting around an empty room with yogurt on the carpet and playing board games in front of a half qualified babysitter instead of a legitimate teacher. They stuck me in special education when I was in third grade um, because of behavior issues, because of acting out. So I saw these things firsthand. Why should you not be learning and be playing Battleship instead in the middle of school? I think that doesn't really help the future in any way at all. Number two is that in general, I think that most teachers should try to have a less adversarial relationship with their students. I often felt like I was going into a place like the doctor's office or something when I went into school because the teachers were rude and they acted like they didn't want to be there. In high school, half my teachers weren't qualified for the subject they were teaching either. Why ruin a sensitive kid's psyche by being mean or tough on kids that already have tough home lives? I think especially the teachers that aren't qualified for their subject are meaner to the kids because they frankly don't want to be there because they don't know much, so they're compensating by dick waving. You know, these people should go work at a place like the DMV or the UPS. Drive an Uber if you're that uninvolved. We don't need that type of person taking important jobs and hurting people emotionally. Number three, relevant subjects. More relevant subjects. I think that could help kids out a lot. Reach when they reach the real world as adults. I mean, the quadratic formula is fantastic, but when you're applying for a job, you're not really going to remember those kind of classes. I know that math and science are important, but skills like job applications, bureaucratic forms, and computer skills beyond typing and email, knowledge of Shakespeare and physics is fantastic. So is football and running the mile. However, that isn't going to help you 15 years down the line if you run a 7-minute mile or get an A on a math test. Most of the time, it's not going to help you 15 years down the line when you're trying to live your real life as an adult. Number four is music in the classrooms. This is kind of a attention or a focus issue. One of the first teachers that motivated me to want to go into history was my teacher, Mr. Yassine from high school. He played mellow stuff like classical and Grateful Dead, and it helped me get into my work and actually pay more attention in the class. Previously in junior high, I had poor grades, including in history, but that was a class that really made me want to go into that as a major and become that as a teacher later, which hopefully I still can if I can get my illness under control. But I think music in the classrooms could actually help kids pay more attention. Number five is to scatter the periods and the homework around. Uh, I didn't have every single class every single day in community, And I think it would help the kids if they didn't have 6 periods and as many classes worth of homework a day, you know. Remember the stress of coming home and it still feeling like you were in class? I think that there should be an amount of relief when you actually see that 2:30 or 3 o'clock on the clock, and you actually feel like, okay, there's some respite from being out and having finished the day, you know. But when you have that much homework where it kind of overwhelms you, I think that it's making kids like they have no time off. You know, it's overwhelming. When I was in junior high, I generally procrastinated a lot, and I think that overwhelming kids less would would reduce these things that we so kindly deem slacking off and laziness, or putting these kids that get poor grades into special ed. That's another thing that they need to stop doing. Help these kids. Don't just make them feel like they're lesser than they actually are. Number 6 is nutrition. School lunches have no nutrition whatsoever in most cafeterias, and this isn't how to nurture growing brains and give students the energy that they need to finish the day. You know, this is fast food and TV dinner, processed quality, low grade food, and it adds to the growing obesity epidemic in America, which affects many children. You know, many of these schools also have deals with food producers. Um, and they charge the kids for their food. These deals are a large part of the reason that our students are fed the same foods that proliferate our dietary epidemic and our heart disease problems. School lunch shouldn't cost money, also, is another thing I'd like to reiterate. I think that's horrible, especially in low income communities where not every kid can even afford a peanut butter and jelly, you know. I had a family member that forgot his money for his lunch, and he wasn't given anything. He just basically had to go on to the next period. That's horrible. Who's so unforgiving towards an 11-year-old, for God's sake? Number 7 uh, in my list of things to, uh, I guess, improve classes and improve the school system um, would be attention issues due to phones. Take away people's phones at the beginning of the class. Why should smartphones be making our generation stupider, frankly? I think just turn them off, throw them in a bag near the door at the beginning of the class, and you know, God knows everybody has enough time, more than enough time, to be on their phone daily. So, in order to help with less people just texting or playing, you know, playing phone games, playing mobile games on their phone under the desk, you know, just take it away at the door. People might be a little bit, you know, unhappy about it at first since they're so technology addicted, but I think that, you know, it'll help everybody, including the teacher and the students who are already paying attention, to get rid of texting in class. And you can just give it back to them at the end. I mean, for God's sake, it's not like you're stealing their phone or something. I'm not suggesting something like that, but just either turn it on vibrate or silent, take it away, and just use it at lunch, use it on the bus, use it at home. There's plenty of other times that kids can be on their phone, God knows. So these are 7 things that I think we could apply drastically. Improve. Sorry, my mouth kind of stopped working there for a second. These are several things that could improve our school system drastically and help us out by improving it quickly too. So thank you for watching. I love you guys all because you're you, and peace.